especially at IME to the T.
Don't come on, somebody.
Don't bring it on. But if you do, I won't be mad. All right. We are ready to roll. Jaguars today, 2.5 weeks out. We'll be glad when it's here and done. And we've got some actual players to discuss at this point in time. But for now, we got what we got. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and ET here with you. It's Jaguars today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Man, it's a messy, sloppy day. You got a lot of things to do. You know what? You don't want to have to worry about what you're going to have for lunch. Maybe you're doing some honeydews in the bad weather out there. Well, I tell you what, swing into a gate station, fill up, maybe get out of the rain for a few minutes and head to the Fresh Case and look for that Dandy label. Dandy, the Anytime Deli labels, they're all the same company. The Thompson family created the Dandy Corporation over 65 years ago, a local family that's still going strong. It's a local company, employs a lot of local folks here, and takes care of all of its local customers as well. You want convenient food on the go, made with high-quality ingredients, delicious sandwiches, subs, breakfast sliders, light lunchtime wraps, you name it. They got a little something for everybody, and you're going to have fantastic variety, and the prices are not going to break the bank. It's a simple formula, folks, but Dandy's perfected it. When you're hungry, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Mia O'Brien here, and let me tell you, Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic is a whole lot more than just a catchy jingle. A couple weeks ago, I started smelling something funky in my backyard and washing machine. So I gave Jeff and the gang at Duck Duck a call. Not only did they send a highly skilled technician to my house right away, he cleaned out my septic tank within a few hours. Folks, it's more than just a jingle. When you get stuck, just call the Duck, 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not being afraid of the crosses of life. Life can be difficult. Maybe today you're carrying a cross of worry or stress. Let me encourage you to remember that when Christ got on the big cross at Golgotha, he destroyed all the little crosses that we face in our life. He set us free from fear, worry, and anxiety. Our job is not to be carried by the cross, but to be carried by our faith.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
You will love your new windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen. And for a limited time, buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third at 60% off. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. You'll enjoy the beauty and quality that only Renewal by Andersen offers. This offer expires April 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. License number CGC 1527613.
You've been injured in a car accident, and the insurance company denies your medical bills, denies to pay your lost wages, and won't repair your car. Then it's time to fight back. Time to call Farah and Farah at 396-5555. Jacksonville.
He coaches QBs and shares his thoughts with Dan, Jeff, and you Friday mornings on The Drill.
Listen, sometimes a quarterback's got to call an audible.
Denny Thompson is the Quarterback Whisperer. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security. Security and automation experts.
Any adventure, any task, anytime. There's a CF Moto Utility ATV or UTV for any rider. See the full lineup at Ride Now Beach Boulevard. Adventure seekers can start with the trail-tested capability and comfort of the C-Force lineup. For the ultimate in UTV performance, check out the Z-Force 950. Find your utility ATV at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or online at cfmotousa.com. ATVs are recommended for the use only by riders age 16 years and older. ATVs can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends approved training course for safety and training information.
It's the home opener for the Jacksonville Sharks this Saturday, April 15th at 7 o'clock at the VyStar Arena. Cheer the Sharks to victory over the San Antonio Gunslingers.
Hey, it's Sharks head coach Jason Gibson, and this week join us as we take on the San Antonio Gunslingers. The Gunslingers will bring in a high-powered attack, but teams will find out fast how hard it is to play in the Shark Tank.
It's family affordable fun with tickets as low as $15. Call 621-0700 or go to jacksharks.com. Fins up.
Imagine kicking back with a cocktail and enjoying beautiful views of Riverside, the St. Johns River, and downtown. You can do just that from the rooftop bar at Black Sheep in historic 5 Points. Happy hour is Tuesday through Sunday from 4 to 7 p.m. For all you night owls, enjoy nightcap specials on Friday and Saturday from 10 p.m. to midnight. Snack on some delicious offerings from the bar menu like fried green olives or the famous Black Sheep Burger. Make your next happy hour at Black Sheep.
'Tis the season to be cool. Florida Home AC wants to make sure you're not cooked like a Christmas goose this summer. Make sure your AC unit is ready for the heat, and if it's time to look at replacement, look for quality and value. You'll get that from Florida Home AC. And right now, take advantage of $1,750 off a brand new heating and AC unit. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com for all the details and trust a company that will always keep you cool. Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars.
Hey, I'm Liz Gruby, the events director of the Jacksonville Business Journal, and I'm here to invite you to join us for our annual 40 Under 40 celebration. It's a great chance to network and celebrate an excellent group of young leaders from all different industries. For tickets and details, visit jbjevents.com. And I hope to see you at our 40 Under 40 Awards Luncheon on April 20th at the Hyatt Regency Riverfront. jbjevents.com.
Now, another classic moment in Jags history.
The sprinklers have come on the Perfect! This is unbelievable. The automatic sprinkler system has come on the goal line.
Absolutely perfect.
1010XL. Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
I don't think there's any upside in telling you what I almost tweeted this weekend, so I'm not going to tell you, but it's a little humorous, right? I just feel like it would have been taken badly.
Of course.
And so I censored myself for one of the rare times. What do they always tell you, Tony? Read that thing several times. Make sure you really want to hit that send button, right? I've sometimes been guilty of being impulsive. No, couldn't believe that happening. But yes, I did censor myself this weekend. So maybe we'll do a contest. Guess which inappropriate tweet I almost said over the course of the weekend. I can neither confirm nor deny, though. So, you're on your own. As far as that goes, we've got the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. Other than Josh Allen, what do they call him? Josh Allen. Other than Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. Other than those two, Allen and Walker, who do you think will have the most sacks for the Jacksonville Jaguars this year? You can name a player that's not currently on the team if you'd like. That means you anticipate they'll sign him, like as a veteran free agent, trade for him. That's probably the least likely, or draft him coming up. We all know they need edge rush help, right? No question there. So let's turn our attention to Big Meech, Demetrius Harvey, over at the Florida Times-Union. He threw this bad boy up there, I would say like 10, 20 minutes before we came on the air, right? So we didn't have this all in the rundown, but I want to take a look at it because I respect Demetrius's knowledge and coverage of the team. I think we all do. That's why we have him on along with Shipley and Duraco and the others as frequently as we do. I read through the intro to it, and I'm not sure if he used like a mock draft program, you know what I mean? Like a mock draft simulator is the word I'm looking for. Because he did talk later about like the way this draft fell. So I'm wondering, like, how did you determine who was available? So I'm going to presume you used some kind of mock draft simulator to do this. He said for the purpose of this mock, we assume there'd be no trades. Right off the bat, I'm not going to be mad if they draft O'Cyrus Torrence with the 24th pick, right? But this is one that ever since Tony Pauline said, I don't think he's a first-round player, I don't think he'll go in the first round. Daniel Jeremiah, I think, ranked him 36th overall. I got other people go, this is crazy. Of course he'll go in the first round. Maybe he will, right? But then now I'm thinking about what Peter King said about all the mocks being way off this year. And the thing with O'Cyrus Torrence, Tony, I feel like he is like a gap scheme, like grind you into submission kind of guard, right? I don't know if he is the guy that they want to pull and get out on the edge and that athleticism that they're looking for at the position. I'm not sure. And I feel like if they had to go to bat with the offensive line that they played with last year, with the exception of Jawan Taylor being filled in with Walker Little at right tackle, I don't think it's tragic, right? The situation that the offensive line is in. I'm not saying it can't be upgraded, and I'd be more interested in a tackle there, though, than a guard. And I know some people think Torrance may one day be able to play right tackle. I think 24 is a big place to take a risk on a guy if that is your game plan for how you're going to use him down the road.
Yeah, one day maybe is not a plan for a first-round
Right,
pick.
that's a bonus,
Yeah.
it feels like,
Yeah.
right? So how would you feel about O'Cyrus Torrance?
Look, we talked a little bit about this on Friday, the last couple of days last week, right? Like, I don't think that there's, among the names that we have mentioned several times over the course of this couple of months leading into the draft, I don't think we mentioned a name yet that if he was the name that was called, I'd be like, come on.
Right.
Like, and I think O'Cyrus Torrance fits in that. I can understand you take a guard, he can step in, he's your left guard from the moment he gets here, okay. Like, I can understand the plan, but it might be the one that I least like among the options that we've discussed.
What if I give you his Pro Football Focus career numbers of 0 sacks allowed?
It's pretty good.
1 hit and 24 hurries allowed in 4 years? Is that possible?
Yeah.
I mean, you could play that long and allow the quarterback to be hit one time by the guy you're primarily responsible for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
I'd be okay if O'Cyrus Torrance is the name that is called. I think there would be, look, it's a guard, right? In the end, that doesn't mean that you can't take a guard at 24, but there are going to be
certainly can.
So many other positions and names that if they were the ones called, I'd be more excited than I would be for a guy like O'Cyrus Torrance. Doesn't mean it's the wrong pick at 24 at all.
Quite frankly, the second selection is the one that has me the most excited here in this mock is Keon White, the edge rusher out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
I don't know why. 'Cause I'm a draft enthusiast, right? We like the draft. We like the mocks. We like the discussion. I enjoy this, right? I really do. But I'm not an analyst. I'm not popping in the film, breaking down the pluses and minuses of this guy versus that guy. You know, I have my opinions on guys, but it doesn't go beyond a certain level. But for some reason, I feel like Keon White is one of those guys that when Peter King talks about shocks coming up in the draft, like I could absolutely see him going in the first round of this year's NFL draft. I mean, he's got great size, Tony. 6'5", 285, right? And he can slide inside. He can come off the edge. He can do a lot. And if you're getting that at the 56th pick, that's what's exciting here. Like if they took Keon White because they were in love with him at the 24th pick, we'd probably go, oh, really? Is that the pass rusher? Because we're not conditioned to think of him that highly yet, right? But if you give him to me at 56, I feel like you might be getting a steal at that point in time.
Yeah, I'm with you. If they can get something like that in the second round, yeah, I'd be really excited with that for Friday night.
24 years old, so he's a little bit older, but okay. I mean, we're sitting here, Josh Allen's still super young, right? But we're not, half the fan base based on, if our polls are at all representative of the opinions of the Jaguar fan base, think that Josh Allen will be playing his last year with the Jags this year, or close to half of them think that that's the case, right? So, okay, what are you going to worry about, what he's going to be at the end of his first contract? Let's worry about him being worthy of a second contract before we get into the whole age. So, okay, he's 24, then 25, 26, 27, and he'd be like 28 if you draft him in the second round, you don't have the fifth-year option, all right. Still plenty young enough to make an impact. Heck, we're over here slobbering over 34-year-old Justin Houston. Come on down, baby. Give me 34-year-old Justin Houston. Anthony Johnson, the defensive back out of Iowa State. Don't you usually see him? He played safety this year, right? Isn't he usually listed as a safety by most draft pundits? This is what Demetrius said, a versatile piece for the Cyclones out of Iowa State. Johnson would be an interesting player in the slot. He moved to safety in his last season after playing on the boundary, and the transition enabled him to play more in the slot. Even though he was a safety, he'd come up, cover the slot, giving him an even better chance at playing there in the pros. He played 245 snaps in the slot last year, which was nearly identical to his in-the-box snap count of 258. So he's big, physical. Yeah, I think this is one of those guys that I've seen mocked like in the second round as a safety, and I don't know, 6 foot 205, great size if he can actually play the slot, this would be a pick that would be pretty attractive as well, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, you're having to do some projecting there a little bit, right? For a guy that was, why was he moved from outside to safety, right?
Sure.
And so the idea when he comes into the league is to move him back, not even outside where he was playing early on, but to the slot.
But which he played there half the time last year.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's a projection there, but look, if you're getting into the third round and they haven't addressed corner yet, then okay, they're gonna probably have to take somebody that they're projecting something at that point, since they've probably passed on the top 8 to 10 names in the draft at corner,
right?
You know, and maybe Johnson is listed more as a safety.
I know what I'm doing. I'm getting him confused with Antonio Johnson, right? Because you see, that's the safety out of Texas A&M, right? This similar name, Anthony Johnson. So that's what I'm like. Because I was thinking when I saw the name, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't he like the big physical in the box type guy?
Sure. And I did pull up Anthony Johnson's draft profile on NFL.com, and they list him as a safety.
Okay.
So,
well, you know, you list Brian Branch as a safety.
Sure.
In most places or in a lot of places as well. And, you know, people some are excited about the idea that the Jags could take him as a nickel corner prospect there in the first round. So we go back to the defensive line here in round 4. Colby Wooden, defensive lineman out of Auburn, Tone 6'4", 273, and said he could basically take Dwan Smoot's spot right there. And if that's now you've addressed pass rush significantly, right? Wooden would be a guy. Look, honestly, I don't know if Keon White would have a starting spot walking in here, you know, unless you plan on playing Trayvon Walker as more of a movable chess piece this year. I'm sure he'd play plenty of snaps. Would it matter who takes the first one of the game? Maybe not so much, but
he's big enough that he could play end. But are you going to pull Foley off the field? You're not pulling Roy Robertson Harris off the field with the deal you just gave him.
No,
so.
and it's not because of the deal. The deal came because of the good play, and that's what you expect. So, but I wonder then if Wooden would not, you know, look, in the 4th round, if you're giving me a sub-package pass rusher that has some versatility, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
You know, another 4th-round pick. This one, I mean, Roschon Johnson. This is Bijan's caddy, basically. Bijan Robinson at Texas. Some people think he's a top 3 back in this draft, right? I'm okay if the Jags don't draft a running back at all. I really am, because I think Dearness Johnson is pretty good, but he's on a 1-year deal. And if this kind of value falls to you, you've got an extra 4th-round pick this year. Okay, you know, I'm not upset by the selection. I don't know if it's the best value, but I don't know what Demetrius was looking at that point. Then just not to get into the particulars of these guys because you're getting into the 6th, 7th round here, but 6th round, 185th overall, B.J. Wilson, an offensive lineman out of Quincy, who is massive at 6'6", 325. You play for a Division II school, I'm going to assume you're going to need a year or two to make an impact on the team, but that's all right. I mean, you're taking a chance on traits and size and finding a diamond in the rough. You're in the 6th round here. That's where you take your chances. Starling Thomas V, defensive back out of UAB. We haven't had, I guess you're talking about Johnson being a nickel prospect there, but this guy was first-team All-Conference USA at corner. So, you know, will that translate to the National Football League? Well, 5'10", 194. Don't know if he's been a punt and kick returner as well. And again, take a chance on, you know, cornerbacks late in the draft. Sometimes they hit. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs, for goodness sakes. Josh Wiley, you're saying, why no tight end? Well, sometimes, look, we're probably going to look at one of these core positions that we focused in on for this team and wonder, when are they going to address this, right? Just because you can't address everything. And, you know, if you don't get the pass rush, if you don't get the corner, you don't get some offensive line depth, you don't get a tight end, something's going to get left out early. Wiley out of Cincinnati was the pick here, 6'2", 248. To me, he's in the Evan Ingram mold, right, at that size. He's not a man-hurts guy. And I'm okay. Look, if tight end is the position they punt on, so to speak, because the value just isn't there compared to what else they need at any given point, you know, again, so be it.
Yeah.
And then finally, a flyer on Jacob Copeland, a wide receiver out of Maryland. in the final round. Good speed, 4.42 guy. He'd be fighting to be basically your fifth receiver or hanging on the practice squad, you would think. But again, in the 7th round, when you have a pretty good roster, I'm okay with taking those shots. So really, looking at those first 4 rounds, I wouldn't be too upset if they came away with that, right? Osiris Torrance, Keon White in the 2nd round. 3rd round would be Johnson, and I'd have to learn more about him. But if he could project to be your slot corner, Colby Wooden, another pass rusher. So now you've really stepped up and added some edge rush potential there in the 4th round. And then Roschon Johnson, that's a little bit of a luxury pick, but he might just be a best player available kind of standing out at that point in time.
Yeah,
so.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, go check out, I know I read through all the names, but you can check out Demetrius's analysis of each of these picks over at Jacksonville.com. Of course, Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union just putting out an old Jaguar mock this morning. Thought it was interesting to take a look at. We'll talk with Mike DiRocco, of course, of Jaguars Today fame mostly, but also works for ESPN from time to time, from what I understand. And we'll talk about where the Jags stand. What are they creating the cap space for right now? Does D-Rock think they have a move up their sleeve, either pre- or post-draft? Because, again, it's nice to have the space. Didn't have to have that space that you created with Rayshawn Jenkins' renegotiation last week. So we'll see where that all goes. D-Rock going to join us next with Tony Smith and E.T. I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
Now is the best time to visit CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. With any new outdoor kitchen purchase, you can receive a Gosney Rockbox pizza oven for free. Only until April 20th. You dream it, they build it at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, it's Prosser here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? Does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound about right now? Well, Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loans, consolidate all your payments into one check per month, and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now to see what your options are. Call Loan Pronto at 999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Shinedown is live at 5-Star Veterans Memorial Arena, April 14th. For a chance to win tickets, text Shinedown to the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010.
There's a world of difference between and that's why you can trust Famous Automotive and Tire when it comes to your vehicle's care. Because there's a difference between and. It all starts with the triangle of safety. Your tires, brakes, and the front end. Take care of those 3 points and your car will take good care of you. Start at Famous Automotive and Tires. 7 locations servicing every customer like they're famous.
Hicken here. If you're looking for a winning team to clean your carpets and tile, Zero Res, #1 in the country for customer satisfaction, and they were named Franchise of the Year. No surprise to me, I've had Zero Res clean my home for years, and man, there's nothing better than coming home to a clean house by Zero Res. The smell, the look, it's awesome. Right now, Get 2 rooms of carpet cleaning, the staircase for $148. Savings of $30. Remember, folks, zero res. Fill it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero res.
Did you know that many cooling companies are now part of big conglomerates with no connection to Northeast Florida? In the past, they have concentrated on heating and air conditioning, but after a buyout, many add plumbing and electrical services. This raises their overhead, and those costs are passed on to the consumer. It's a case where bigger isn't better, it's just more expensive. Not Mike Merritt's Heating and Air. Mike Merritt remains family-owned and operated. Merritt's focus has been the same for more than 30 years, keeping Northeast Florida comfortable, no matter what the weather. And there are no overtime or weekend surcharges. Mike Merritt's team does not work on commission. They repair only what needs repair and offer replacements only on what can't be fixed. And unlike at giant corporations where you can feel like just another number, with Mike Merritt, you'll feel like number one. Florida license CACO 50384.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Bet on the ball game. Get your money down. Money lines, totals, and parlays. Where cash and tickets all around.
It's baseball betting season, and VSiN's 2023 MLB Betting Guide is a home run for bettors. Download your free special edition of the guide, featuring a betting preview of the Atlanta Braves and Tampa Bay Rays at 1010XL.com. That's 1010XL.com.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimate.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
The Florida Gators are on 1010XL.
The rivalry returns to the Diamond. Florida State Baseball. Tomorrow night at 6 on 1010 AM.
All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars today on 1010XL. All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, we love us some Mike DiRocco around these parts. You catch him every Thursday throughout the season. He is a one-time Breakfast Bowl champion. Anybody else in here? Oh, I am as well.
I am.
Tony won? You won a Breakfast Bowl as well,
I did
Tony?
this year. I won the one
Where's
we
Taylor
just
at?
finished.
Where's Taylor at right now? She won a Breakfast Bowl.
She did.
Anybody else?
Jerk.
No, I think that's the list.
I think that's it. Well, we've only had four of them.
Jerk.
We've only had four of them.
Jerk.
E.T., what's your Twitter handle again? at Jerk Store. Don't do it. All right, let's welcome in Mike DiRocco from ESPN and, of course, Jaguars Today's own. D-Rock, how are you this morning?
I'm well. How is everyone?
We're good. We're doing well. Hope you had a nice Easter weekend and just a nice weekend in general. And, you know, we're down to crunch time here, 2.5 weeks. I don't know. Do you think much is going to change between now and the start of the NFL draft for the Jags? I mean, it's always possible they sign a veteran guy, but it seemed a little odd to me last week they created that cap space, immediate cap space that they have now, about $12 million. They're like taking the rookie pool out. They're like ninth most space in the league, D-Rock. Is there a move that you think that this signifies that they're getting ready to make or would like to make?
You know, I think I would be a little surprised if there was a move before the draft. I think they're full on in draft mode right now, but I think creating that space helps them obviously after the draft too. See how it shakes out. See, you know, how the edge rusher, you know, selections go. See how things go with their picks. See how things go everywhere else, and then maybe they want to be able to have that space available in case they want to make another move, because there are still a bunch of edge rushers available out there, but
right.
They're not going to be cheap, as we know. Like, I was looking up the list of those guys, and just like, for example, Leonard Floyd, and if you go to Spotrac or Spotrac, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, everyone pronounces it different, but like the market value for him is like $13 million a year. And obviously you can finagle that a little bit with the way you structure the contract and stuff for a lower cap number in year one, but you want to be able to have some flexibility to make a move like that if you feel like you didn't address it enough in the draft.
That's what
I would expect.
Yeah, is there any name among that veteran pass rusher list that you looked at that you would prefer as a target for the Jags at this point?
I don't. I would think that they would want to go more along that outside linebacker route. I mean, so that's like a Leonard Floyd. Bud Dupree's still available, but I don't know if that's a guy that they would be interested. I still don't think Yannick Ngakoue is a guy that they would be interested in. For all the reasons that you guys have talked about before, and I think I was on and we talked about him before as well. He'd have to be willing to accept that role as a situational pass rusher, and I don't know that he would be willing to do that. I think that it may not be a situation where there are no moves that they will make if they feel like they did a good job in the draft and took one or two guys and felt like, okay, with those guys, we know we're going to bring back Smoot at some point, I think is, a safe bet at much, much more reasonable money. And then they're expecting, that big jump from Trayvon Walker. So they may feel like with what we've done in the draft and with Trayvon, and we know we can probably count on that 7 to 8, 9, 10 sacks from Josh Allen, that, maybe they're okay. We'll see how it goes. But I think, whoever, a lot of it's, like I said, it's going to depend on how they feel like they address it in the draft coming up.
Let me ask you this, and this is a very difficult question, I think, to nail, right? But we're asking folks today, take Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker out. Other than those two guys, and maybe they're not the top two sack guys, they weren't last year, who's going to be the next highest sack guy on this team? Do you think it's a guy who's here now? Do you think it's a guy they've yet to sign? Or it's a guy they've yet to draft? And what would your lean be?
So you're saying take those two guys out of the equation?
Right.
So
We're actually asking people for a specific name to kind of guess. Like, do you think they're going to draft Nolan Smith or whatever? But where do you think it comes from? Do you think it comes from a guy on the roster, a NFL veteran that is not on the team right now, or a draft pick?
Yeah, that's a hard question.
It is, right?
I mean, yeah. Because I think, what we're looking in is that 4 to 5 sack range, I think, is probably, what that number would be for the number 3 sack guy, which is essentially what he would be. So, I mean, I would say it'd probably end up being a rookie. Whether it's, like I said, Nolan Smith's a good name if he's available. I think it's someone not on the roster right now who would be the number 3 guy. And that also includes a guy like Dawn Smoot. So, like, if they bring him back and he's fully recovered, I don't see any reason why he couldn't be in that 4 to 5 sack range either. So I'll definitely say it's a guy that's probably not on the roster right now.
All right, let me ask you about a guy who is on the roster, because his name was mentioned a couple times this morning. And, understandably, he's a forgotten man because he hasn't played really for the team. Jordan Smith, D-Rock, when last we saw him at UAB, put up 12.5 sacks in a couple of years. Do you, in talking to people with the team, do you ever hear any buzz, any like, hey, you know what, maybe we got a diamond in the rough, we haven't gotten anything out of him, but this might be the year? Are you hearing anything about him?
No, not really. And he was raw when he came out anyway. I think that was what everybody knew, and like really raw. And then losing last year really hurt him. Obviously, that's a year of development, and who knows how much he would have played. But yeah, he's not a name that I've heard as people being excited about and thinking, hey, look at this, we can turn this guy into a 5 or 6 sack guy. There's been no buzz about him at all.
D-Rock, are the Jaguars a better team today than when they walked off the field in Kansas City?
I keep saying this, and I will say no, because, everyone talks about Calvin Ridley, and I get it. He looks phenomenal in his workouts. He's running really, really well. You see him catching the ball, and he looks great. But I just don't know what to expect out of him. So in theory, yes, they're much better because of adding Calvin Ridley. But the way I look at it, I'm always, I got to see it before I believe it kind of guy. So, we don't know who their right tackle is definitely going to be. We think it's going to be Walker Little, but now they're down. They went from Walker Little as a swing tackle to Josh Wells as a swing tackle. So I would say that that's not an improvement. Their number 3 sack guy was who? Or number 2 sack guy was what? Arden Key. He's gone. Dwan Smoot is gone. That's like 9-10 sacks that you have to replace. So I would sit there and say, because I can't 100% tell you what I'm going to see out of Calvin Ridley, then I would still say they're worse team now than when the season ended. But, once you go through the draft and then we get into OTAs and minicamp and I get a chance to see what Calvin Ridley looks like, I mean, it would be a surprise to me if he was, a guy that would not be able to contribute heavily, would not be able to be their number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. But I got to see it first. But I mean, look, they're still the best team in this division, even no matter what happens in the draft with whichever teams grab those quarterbacks. Even if the Colts somehow do pull off a Lamar Jackson deal, I still think the Jags are the better team in that division by far. So this isn't to say like they're going to go, 4-13. They may end up being 9-8 again, or 10-7. May not have a significantly better record because of a tougher schedule, but they're still a good team. Don't get me wrong, they're still a good team. But until I see Ridley on the field and have a good sense in my head about what he looks like and what he's going to play like, then I would say that they're actually not better than when the season ended.
Well, if we presume Ridley is something approaching what he was in his last full season in Atlanta, maybe they're just going to beat teams 35-34 all year, which should be kind of fun.
Look, if he's close to that, then they are markedly better. But it'll be 23 months between games.
Understood.
23 months. And I know quarterback's a different position. It totally is. But I think we saw how that long layoff affected Deshaun Watson. Not as a big of a deal, I guess, for a receiver. It's not like you got to process all that stuff quickly and got to escape the rush and all that other stuff, obviously. But, I think he's going to be really, really good. So, I'm just kind of hedging bets on that right now, to be honest with you. But in reality, is he going to catch 1,400 yards worth of passes? I don't think so. I just think there's too many other guys there.
Oh, sure, yeah, right. But does he look like the same guy? Right.
Yeah, if he looks like the same guy, then he's a 1,000-yard guy. And but with him and Kirk and Jones and Ingram, then they're going to have one of the best passing attacks in the league.
Yeah, I think, not to get off the topic here, but Deshaun Watson, you practice with the team, then you go away. And then you come back in the middle of the season. I think it's going to be easier, for Calvin Ridley to hit the ground running, no pun intended, at the beginning of the year. You know what I mean? Seriously, though, because, barring any physical setbacks, he should have a full off season to work with Trevor Lawrence, be fully integrated, all that. One area that we're still looking at for some help here, because just the numbers, there are only 2 tight ends on the roster. And, Evan Ingram's on the franchise tag, which he hasn't signed yet, D-Rock. You can't have everything, though, right? Like, we want offensive line help. We want pass rush help. We want cornerback help. And I'm not even saying that's the order we want them. And we want tight end help as well. If there's one of those positions that you would punt on, is tight end the one? Or is that something you think they're going to prioritize maybe higher than one of those other spots I just mentioned?
I probably would say tight end. I was talking to one of our draft. I think you guys had him on maybe last week, or Jordan Reed, or maybe it was somebody else. The noon show had him. I'm not sure, but he and I were talking, and he said, you could argue that this is the deepest tight end draft class in nearly a decade. And I know the Jags like Garrett Prince a lot. I could see them making the tight end position in terms of punting and maybe not addressing it till later on,
right?
5th round later. But I don't, I do think that the offensive tackle position is a spot that they have to address at some point, and corner as well, and edge rusher. So I think if you were making me rank those, I'd put tight end last.
If Evan Ingram winds up playing on the franchise tag, meaning they don't get a long-term deal done, then next offseason, Mike and I discussed this last week, Calvin Ridley and Josh Allen are both playing on their fifth-year options right now. How do you think they would prioritize the order in which to keep those three guys with only one tag potentially to use on one of those three in Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, and Josh Allen next offseason?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of it depends on the kind of years they have. I mean, if Josh Allen rolls out there with 6 sacks, then I don't think that he's the guy that they use the franchise tag on. It comes down to obviously Ridley and Ingram. But if Ridley has the kind of year that everybody sort of expects him to have, I think that would be the guy that they would use it on. Because now you have, I mean, you have the 2 outside with Zay inside, or excuse me, the 2 outside with Kirk inside. Stretch the field guy. I mean, that's just so important. But I do think that it wouldn't surprise me if they get a deal done with Ingram between, the time that they break from OTAs and minicamp until the training camp starts. It would not surprise me if they got something done there. But I think if the season starts, I don't expect any kind of a long-term deal with Ingram to be worked on until after next season. I know Trent Baalke generally doesn't like to do deals during the season. So, I would now again, if Josh Allen has 12 sacks, that changes things significantly. But I don't know that's a realistic expectation for him.
All right, D-Rock, what are you working on for the next couple of weeks over at ESPN.com?
Yeah, I'm doing a series on which position they should take at 24. Last week I did our offensive tackle. This week is corner. The following week is tight end, and then the last week before the draft or the week of the draft would be edge rusher. And it's this is why they should take this position, and then there's a little bit of a counter argument, and this is why you shouldn't take that position at 24. So that's kind of the series that I'm working on.
I feel like I'd prefer if they had like 4 first-round picks this year for some reason. I think that would work out better, but darn it. Poor management, poor foresight by the Jaguars to not have 4 this year. But all right, D-Rock, hopefully, look, I think we're all going to be happy when we finally have actual players joining this roster that we can talk about and then really have a better idea of the plan. But until then, we'll keep reading your work over to ESPN.com and encourage people to give you a follow and follow along with your reporting at ESPN DeRocco on Twitter as well. All the best, brother.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, you got it. You know you will. Mike DeRocco of ESPN, one of our Jaguars Today regulars here on 1010XL. All right, we'll come back. Mock Draft Monday into the second hour. We'll take also a look at just some of the best available out there in free agency and which guys would maybe – at least excite you a little bit or make you raise an eyebrow like, okay, that guy, I've heard of him. I think he can come in and help this football team because I got to believe, Tone, they're creating cap space for some reason. Like if you get a deal done with Evan Ingram, it's only going to lower his cap hit for this year. You're going to have even more space in your top 10 in the league right now. So we'll get into that and more coming up. 641-1010 if you want to be a part of the conversation. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
Life is a contact sport.
Get in the game with 1010XL. Jacksonville Sports Radio.
There is so much I love about spring. Mia here. It's hard to choose a favorite. Kind of like the amazing used selection you'll find at Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned. I'm talking 400 premium pre-owned on the lot. So to make your decision a little easier, you get 30 days to love your purchase or exchange it for one that you do. And with a 4.7 out of 5-star rating and over 16,000 Google reviews, you know my friends at Arlington are going to help you pick the best ride for you. Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard and online at arlingtontoyota.com. myfamilydentistquote.com.
No dental insurance? No problem. Introducing the Care Plus program from the dental offices of Dr. James McCall. For only $625 per year, you will receive 2 cleanings and dental exams, a full set of x-rays, plus 1 emergency dental exam and x-ray. You'll also receive a 20% discount on all other services offered. Kids 12 and under will receive the same program for only $525. Call Dr. McCall today at 620-9225.
Come to Bowden Eye for all your eye care needs. Hicken here. Did you know that diabetes is a leading cause of blindness and affects up to 34 million Americans? Please don't take diabetes lightly. If you have diabetes, see your favorite Bowden Eye doc and save your vision. Bowden Eye is dedicated to the protection and preservation of the treasured gift of sight. Bowden Eye and Associates. Visit today for your personal consultation. Keeping the First Coast focused. New location now open off County Road 210 in St. Johns County.
Does your home or building need painting? For over 20 years, Performance Painting has had the privilege of preserving many of Jacksonville's most prominent buildings. That said, we feel like we're just getting started. I'm Jason Parker, and our team thrives on preparing, protecting, and preserving the homes, businesses, and public buildings that make up our local landscape. Contact us today to put our years of experience to work for you. Performance Painting, prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Jacksonville is a great place to live. And if you love where you live, you should invest in it. That's why more and more people bank with One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. We invest every penny back into North Florida, backing the very best small businesses, nonprofits, and of course the family home. Why put your money with some big out-of-state bank when you can invest in where you love to live? One-to-One Financial, we're your hometown credit union. Sign up today at one-to-one-fcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8-SPARKY. Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
Do you want or need to sell your home and you're just worried about the potential problems that are out there? Let me make you feel better. Go to ChadandSandy.com. You see Chad and Sandy, the real estate experts who guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. What does this mean for you? It means you can and will have a smooth home selling process. Take Ken and Monica in Cunningham Creek out in St. Johns County, who say, we were ready to retire and move to the mountains. I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio, and what they say is true. We hired them, got multiple offers in 16 days, and sold above asking price. We can retire in style thanks to Chad and Sandy. Those are the success stories that are out there. Don't miss out. Call the agents I trust and recommend to sell my home. Chad and Sandy guarantee to sell your home or they will buy it. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to ChadandSandy.com. That's Chad, A-N-D, Sandy.com. Call today.
Did you know that all graduates of Local 234's apprenticeship program are licensed journeymen? That means all plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC techs will have hundreds of hours of experience and have passed the Jacksonville City Licensed Journeyman exam. They're the best trained and safest skilled tradespeople in the industry. Don't leave yourself exposed to inadequate workmanship or even danger. Always hire a licensed journeyman. Local 234. Make the right connection. Equal opportunity employer.
They spend all year fighting crime and fighting fires. Coming up April 15th at UNF Arena, they'll fight each other. Guns N' Hoses back for the 24th edition. Dan and I have been for every one of them, and we will be again this year. So join us at UNF Arena for some fist-pounding charitable action. We are back at UNF Arena, but all the fun and festivities of Fight Night are back too. That means tailgate parties beforehand at 3:30, an after party afterward at 9:30. Get your tickets today at GNHJacks.com/tickets.
This is Hayes Carline for Island Wing Company, located on Southside near Tinseltown, and our new location at Bartram Park in St. Johns County. Two great locations offering the ultimate sports bar experience where you can stick to healthy options. Island Wing Company has a wide selection of fryer-free food. The wings are baked, not fried, with so many awesome flavors to choose from. You can also get delicious salmon, tuna, flatbreads, and tacos. With tons of spectacular TVs, dog-friendly patios, and 2 daily happy hours, Island Wings can't be beat.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. For the new year, check out the new gear at hardballcreative.com and make sure your employees are sporting your logo on the newest and coolest apparel.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Taylor Dahl with your 1010XL local sports update. Big weekend for the Jacksonville Icemen after a 5-2 win over the Atlanta Gladiators on Saturday. The Icemen set a new club record for wins in a season with 41, passing the previous mark of 40. Last season, the Icemen have also clinched a spot in the 2023 Kelly Cup playoffs. And after dropping the first three of the home series, the Jumbo Shrimp win the final two games of the series against Durham, including an 8-3 win on Sunday. Jeff Lindgren earned his first win of the season, allowing just one earned run on 2 hits and 7 strikeouts. And Florida Gators dropped their finale to the Vols on Saturday 14-2. Despite the win, Florida picked up their 8th straight series win, including their 4th consecutive in SEC play. 65 degrees at 11:04. Time and temper brought to you by Bueller Air Condition. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Don't get me wrong, they're still a good team, but until I see Ridley on the field and have a good sense in my head about what he looks like and what he's going to play like, then I would say, yeah, that they're actually not better than when the season ended.
Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
That was Mike DeRocco of ESPN a few minutes ago talking about whether the Jags are better on paper than they were at the end of last season. I think, when you talk about player procurement, Tone, who do they add? Just the bottom line, they add Calvin Ridley. They lost this. They added this. They lost that. Okay, you can definitely make the case. But I think, and listening to the drill this morning, they were talking about this a little bit as well. It's very tough to factor out in how much better will Trevor Lawrence be, right? Like a lot of people, that rookie year doesn't count. Well, it does, but, will he make the full, he didn't make that full second-year leap until about halfway through, right? So does he make an even bigger leap now in year 3? And if he does, that's going to make up for probably just about everything that you've lost, quite frankly, right? But it's not only him. It's Trayvon Walker. It's Devin Lloyd. It's all these young guys. Will Travis Etienne be a better, more efficient player? Will and all these young guys can get better. Although running back, you pretty much are what you are when you get to the National Football League for the most part.
If Trevor Lawrence had played the first half of the season the way he played the second half of the season, the Jags would have won.
Could have been 12-5,
11,
like
12 games, something like that. And Trevor Lawrence played the back half of the season like a top 5 quarterback in the league. Right? Like, that's the kind of level he gave you for the second half of the season. If he's just that going forward, and how high up that list can he consistently play himself? Like, if that really is the next step for Trevor Lawrence, and I think it is, right? Like, that's the logical next step, is that consistency where you're not having the interception in London. You're not having the interception against Houston, which is what he cleaned up in the second half of the season, along with a bunch of other playmaking stuff that was going on. If they're getting that for 17 games, then, the team's going to be better this year than they were last year. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to get to the same level that they got to, a divisional round. Like, it's hard to accomplish everything that Jacksonville wound up accomplishing in the 2022 season. We'll see what gets in their way once we get to the end of the year. But, I think there's an argument to be made. It's hard to guess at how much is Trevor Lawrence going to improve year 2 to year 3. How much does the whole team improve with everyone that's coming back just being in Doug Peterson's system for a second year? How much does that help everybody? I think it's hard to quantify exactly what those things mean, but I think that is the things that you have to consider when you're discussing, are they better than they were, right? When they left Kansas City, is the team better than they were when they left Kansas City? Because it's hard to argue that losing Jawan Taylor doesn't have an impact. It's hard to argue that losing Arden Key doesn't have some impact.
Sure.
Right? And they haven't added anything to replace those guys on the roster. They're turning to Walker Little at right tackle, which, I think Walker Little could have been an offensive tackle for the team for the last couple of years. Didn't win the job last year here in Jacksonville. So I expect some kind of drop-off, but I don't expect it to be massive in that spot for the Jaguars. Their backup is obviously different. And, asking the question we're asking today, who's going to be third on the team in sacks this year? And, when we were talking to D-Rock and he mentioned DeJuan Smoot and Arden Key, those guys were 2 and 3 on the Jaguars sack list last year. It was Josh Allen was 7, was the team leader in 2022. DeJuan Smoot with 5 was second on the list, and Arden Key was third with 4.5. Then
on a team that wasn't a good pass rush team lost 2 of their top 3 guys.
Right. And then Trayvon Walker had 3.5, and Roy Robertson Harris had 3.
Roy Roberts.
Right? Like, it's just not a whole lot of impact as far as the numbers in the sack game, as we all know. But, yeah, their 2 and 3 guys are gone. How are those guys even going to be replaced? Like, I think it's reasonable to expect Trayvon Walker to improve to the point where he's at least a 5-sack
Right.
guy.
Could he be right? Could he give you the Arden Key total or the DeJuan Smoot total, right? And move him up? But who's going to then become the Trayvon Walker guy? And hey, how about this? Josh Allen, contract year, obviously, right? 5th-year option. Here we go. Play like it, right? Play like your butt's on fire and go out and get us 13.5 sacks this year. And
That'd be nice.
And let's have that hard conversation about how we're going to be able to keep all the guys we want to keep next off season. As far as that goes, what did I just have in front of me? I got a couple of things here on the text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. This one in from the 321 area code. They'll be better, meaning the Jags, just because they're in the same system for a second year instead of switching around. And there's definitely going to be some of that. No question about it. This is from our man, Bush Drive Rich. He says, what's up, gang, and D-Rock. Of course, D-Rock is gone now, but who out of our active roster is in danger of being traded during the draft for a draft pick? No one?
Yeah.
I mean, is there where do you have the kind of depth that you think you got a guy like I'm not saying they would have done it, but you could have said, well, Walker Little, if somebody gives you, a high enough pick, but you had just spent the 45th pick in the draft a year earlier, it would have had to have been pretty significant to give up on him, for instance. And at that point, they were probably still thinking he might win a starting job. I mean, I don't think they have anybody that fits that bill for me that's going to draw any trade interest for them. Where they have that kind of depth that you're like, oh, my gosh, this is an embarrassment of riches. I don't see it.
No. And I'm thinking through, I don't see where that would be.
No, I'm looking right down the depth chart right now. I just
at this point,
who's going to give? There's so many guys on here that are okay. They can be part of a winning culture, but they're not frontline players. You're not going to trade anybody out of your starting lineup. You wouldn't presume.
No.
Especially
the only thing I can
all
think
the restructures they've done
was if by happenstance they were able to draft Bijan Robinson and then traded Travis Etienne, but that's a lot of moving pieces.
And even then, what's
you're going to
give you for a running back?
Around 3, 4, 5 pick.
I don't. It might be better than a 5, right? But man,
not much.
He's on a rookie deal.
Yeah.
So, and you do have the 5th-year option available with him, so there would be some value. But
just thinking along the lines of they don't have surplus at a lot of spots, right? So if they drafted something that gave them a surplus in the first round, and running back could be one of the spots where they could, and then they'd be able to move a guy and still use the pick this year.
That would be a very narrow band of opportunity for that to happen.
I don't think that's what would happen.
Right, because, for one, I don't think all of a sudden you go, oh, Bijan's on the clock. Let's draft him and see what kind of trade offers come in. Right? That's the kind of work you're probably doing ahead of time.
No doubt.
I don't know. And hopefully they're doing work ahead of time, obviously. Just quickly here at NFL.com, we're going to get into some mock drafts in the next segment for what they're worth. Unique Ngakoue listed as the best available free agent. They had him as the 26th ranked player. I agree with you. I just don't see it. That reunion coming in here. Although, again, what does Jan want? He was all about the money before. Even though you have cap space, if you got the kind of money that's going to make Jan happy, although who knows what he's going to end up having to take if he wants to play this year, just based on, I think most of these guys now are going to wait. And let's see how the draft shakes out, because there's going to be 1 or 2, maybe more desperate teams that missed out
for sure
on the guy. Poona Ford's a good player. I don't know if I see them spending the whole bunch on the defensive line after, in terms of free agency money, after bringing Gotsis back, renegotiating the deal with Roy Robertson Harris and Foley Fatukasi, although I don't know. Shaq Griffin, this tells you what's Shaq Griffin, we'd be like, oh, come on. And he's the 3rd ranked player still available by NFL.com. There are other guys further down. Dalton Reisner out of Denver, the guard, has been a pretty good player.
Yeah.
He was, as they said, he's also that dude who pushed backup quarterback Brett Rippon on the sidelines on Christmas Day. I don't recall it, but all right. If you're going to only push around Beathard, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
So that could be, maybe that's a route you go, something like that, if you want to try to upgrade. I mean, if you're going to consider spending the 24th pick on Osiris Torrance, and they've met with him, they've scouted him and all that, then, maybe you go the veteran guard route.
Maybe.
Something along those lines, It's not a class that's burgeoning with instant impact, and that's why they're still available. But, you go further down, and it's those edge rushers that we've talked about. It's Leonard Floyd. It's Melvin Ingram. It's, Justin Houston. It's whomever that happens to be as a short-term stopgap.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, we'll take you around the league when we come back. We'll take a look at a couple of CBS Sports mocks. It's a pretty quiet weekend for mock drafts with Easter weekend and all that going down. Most of the NFL.com guys had them out in time for us to discuss them on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take a quick look there when we come back on the other side. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and E.T., you're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
The First Coast has voted. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is proud to be chosen as Bold City's best in the orthopedic practice and physical therapy and rehab centers categories once again. For the last 29 years, JOI has continually strived for the highest level of orthopedic surgery and rehab care. As the needs of the community evolve, so will they. That's why coaches, parents, and athletes choose JOI. Call them at JOI 2000 or visit JOI.net. JOI, where the pros go.
Hey folks, you ever search why Shark Coatings is the best? Well, one of the many reasons is our polyurea. We don't just buy it from anyone who has it in stock. We custom blend ours, specializing between summer and winter blend, providing you with the best product for our area. After grinding the concrete, that polyurea will form a permanent bond at the molecular level and will not pull away like epoxy. With Shark Coatings, not only will your garage look awesome, but your pool deck, patio, or driveway will too. See how Shark Coatings can make a difference for you. Call, click, or text today.
Now is the perfect time to make sure your home is protected from storms by scheduling a complimentary roof inspection with Universal Roof and Contracting. Protect your biggest investment, your home. Get a free wind mitigation with your full roof replacement plus a free Platinum Protection Warranty upgrade. This offer expires April 30th and restrictions apply. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 123-0147, CBC 125-8484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Hey guys, Hicken here. It's hot now and it ain't getting any cooler. Unless you stay cooler with Bueller. Bueller Air is still locally owned and still treating their growing customer base like they're part of the family. Go ahead and Google them yourself. Bueller Air. You won't find better rated air conditioning company in town. I use them, so I already know. I love them. Like I said, it's getting hotter than ever outside, so stay cooler with Bueller.
Bueller Air. Stay cooler with Bueller.
He's the captain of the sea and the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Any action?
He's Captain Kevin Favor.
Look at this. Giant.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, it's Prosser here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money and pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement project. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. So even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness. Say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Or as always, you can visit loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Yo, yo, yo! Are you looking for the lowest price on car insurance? ET here for Australia Car Insurance. Call 1-800-CAR Insurance today. Australia is your quick and easy alternative to pay less for car insurance. Switch and save money. Call 1-800-CAR Insurance today.
Don't walk. Run to the Jacksonville Sharks for their first home game against the San Antonio Gunslingers this Saturday, April 15th at 7 o'clock at VyStar Arena. It's affordable fun with tickets as low as $15. Dust off your best 90s outfit, tie-dye bomber jackets and cargo pants, and get ready to party for the Sharks' longtime fan favorite 90s night. Saturday, April 15th. 7 o'clock at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Call 621-0700 or check out jacksharks.com for tickets as low as $15. Fins up.
It's time to get on the tee with me, Joe C. The XL Primetime Spring League is back, and you need to be part of it. Southampton invites you to join us every Wednesday now through early May for our 9 after 5. As soon as you knock off work, you can head to Southampton for a great game every week. Chef Gary cooking up something good for afterwards and prizes. Call 287-PLAY and get in the game every Wednesday. It's our 9 after 5 at Southampton. Call 287-PLAY now.
At the Dailies Dash, they're kicking pimento and taking names. Come in and try the April sandwich of the month, the Kickin' Pimento BTT. More Dash deliciousness filled with pimento cheese, bacon, tomatoes, and turkey. Are we hungry yet? Quality ingredients, friendly service. The Dailies Dash experience is going to be a pimento kickin' eye-opener for you. From locally sourced coffee ground fresh every morning to the mouth-watering sandwich menu, stop at the Dailies Dash today and try the Kickin' Pimento BTT, the Dailies Dash sandwich of the month.
Calling all Buffalo Bills, Annie Oakley's sharpshooters, and amateur marksmen. Join some fun folks for an afternoon of competitive clay shooting to benefit Operation New Uniform, providing transformative training and career services to empower veterans and military spouses to successfully transition from military service to a meaningful career. Friday, April 28th at Clay Target Sports on a state-of-the-art 15-station sporting clay course. Register at onvet.org.
1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
I want more money.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
I'm sorry, I can't understand a word that you're saying.
Mornings.
Denied.
On 1010XL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I think that the game is sort of changing into that mold where that slot corner has to offer more than just being a guy who can cover a sort of quicker receiver there. He has to be big, physical, because, you know, the fronts are getting smaller and smaller. So he has to be able to, you know, defend the run. I think Brian Branch is a really good player at that.
Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Big Meech, Demetrius Harvey, with us last week from the Florida Times-Union, talking about the need to get somebody to cover the slot. And in his mock draft he did for the Times-Union this morning, he took Anthony Johnson Jr., defensive back out of Iowa State, who's played both safety and slot corner, about split 50-50 last year. Was an outside corner as well at one point. So, you know, we'll see. You know, nobody really knows. We're all just trying to narrow down the options here. Have you ever used that Chat GPT thing?
I've not used it yet.
The AI thing?
I know what it is.
How hard, like, do you just go to chatgpt.com and, like, is that how you find it? I really don't know.
I don't know. I'm
old
sure
man
you can
ignorant here.
I'm sure you can get several apps on your phone probably that do it now.
You know, when I was a kid, E.T., we had to get up to change the channel.
Yeah.
That's a true story, yeah. In my house, anyway.
ChatGPT is wild, man.
So somebody goes on ChatGPT, right,
Yeah.
which is this artificial intelligence thing, and you can ask it anything. And it said, okay, we got it solved here. They asked, which position is more crucial to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL Draft 2023? Guard, defensive end, slot corner, or tight end? I would have included offensive tackle, but whatever, okay? ChatGPT said the most crucial position for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL Draft in 2023 is guard. This is because the Jaguars need to improve their offensive line in order to protect their quarterback and help the running game. It's a reasonable answer. I have a feeling if you asked ChatGPT which is more crucial to and filled in all the other 31 teams, would they give you that stock answer? I don't
don't know.
They're not saying protect Trevor Lawrence. They're saying protect the. Well, yes, guards do protect the quarterback and help the running game. So anyway, problem solved.
Yeah.
Trent Baalke, get on ChatGPT and make sure you're matched up. Let's see. This one came in earlier. I just sounded like Brockmire.
Oh.
What does Brockmire sound like? Who's that? Who plays Brockmire? The guy.
Hank Azaria.
Okay. Yeah, I can picture him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't he do a lot of voices on The Simpsons? Is that the same guy?
Yeah, same guy.
Right? So who knows what he sounds like?
Yeah.
I guess as Brockmire, he sounds a certain way.
Sounds like Brockmire.
Isn't that Quagmire?
No,
on The Simpsons?
No, that's Family Guy.
Oh, see.
No, Hank Azaria did Apu and all.
Okay.
Like he stopped doing him, but he did tons of characters.
Yeah, he's been a voice guy forever.
Like a dozen Simpsons characters or something, maybe more. I don't know. But E.T., maybe you could dig us up for the final segment, just a little quick YouTube audio snippet of Brockmire.
I know Beef used to have Brockmire in there. It might be an
did he? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It could be a compliment. It could be a complete insult. I'm not sure. Oh, somebody is
the whole the just blackness.
Oh, maybe when I said just Ellen, right? That was probably what it was, right?
Yeah.
That's probably what it was. So
yeah.
All right. I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm not opposed to it. You watch what you like. We were talking about who could get traded during the draft. Snoop Connor for a washing machine. Ouch. That's from Justin on the north side.
I don't think you'd get that.
No. What about one of those old school ones? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
My mom used to have a what do you call it? Like a hand wringer.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. We were like, never mind that we didn't have the remote control on the television. We didn't have one of those TVs. We didn't have a color TV. My mom had a washing machine, but she had a line outside. So when it rained, she had like that 1930s get the crank going, like you're making pasta. You got the wheels and it's squeeze. You got to feed shirts into it and stuff like that.
I remember seeing it at my grandparents. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
Just blackness.
Yeah, that might have been it, right? Just Ellen. That could have been it. That's probably what it was, actually. All right. Here we go. 2 quick looks. It's pretty quiet mock draft Monday out there, which is interesting because we're closer to the draft than we've ever been. Ryan Wilson, who does a bunch of them over at CBS, has them going Brian Branch. I'm pretty sure there's the exact same analysis he's written every time he writes up Brian Branch. Branch is special, can play in the slot, near the line of scrimmage, deep center field. Remember this line. And if Nick Saban trusted him at Alabama, that's all you need to know about his NFL prospects.
Okay.
I remember that line. And then we've got another one over at CBS from Jordan Dajani. And I'm not going to get into what all the rest of the teams are doing here, although it is, you look at some of our wish list last week. Starting at pick 16, Joey Porter Jr. comes off the board. Darnell Wright comes off the board. 2 picks later, there goes Nolan Smith. Pick later, there goes Osiris Torrance. There goes Deontay Banks at 22. And the Jags take Cam Smith. And he says, a fun player who tied for the lowest completion percentage allowed in the SEC last year. Smith fills a need in the Jags secondary. If you just written that, I feel like a fun player is like, let's just take a shot here and see what this could be fun. Like a gadget guy, we can move him around to a bunch of places. That's probably not his intent, but
probably not.
Has him ranked here actually, and I don't know if they use like CBS Sports internal rankings, their own rankings, whatever, but has him ranked as prospect number 17 overall. So that would be a value at 24. Very next player is Jalen Hyatt, who they have ranked as the 65th best prospect in the draft. There's a disconnect here. I get it. The Giants need wide receiver, right? But, man, that seems like a massive reach, although maybe the Giants feel differently about Jalen Hyatt. We don't know. Speaking of the Giants and all the other 31 teams, let's take a quick tour around the National Football League through the eyes of Tony Smith.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Baltimore and free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. have agreed to a 1-year, $15 million deal that could be worth up to $18 million with incentives. The Tennessee Titans and defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons have agreed to a 4-year, $94 million extension with $66 million in total guaranteed money and a $24 million signing bonus. Simmons was set to play this season on a 5th-year option that would have paid him $10.75 million this year. Simmons has made the Pro Bowl and been selected as a second-team All-Pro in each of the last 2 seasons. Kansas City has agreed to a deal with wide receiver Richie James. James caught 57 passes and 4 touchdowns last year for the Giants. And Cincinnati police on Friday resubmitted a misdemeanor aggravated menacing charge against Cincinnati Bengals running back Joe Mixon, stemming from an alleged incident in January. Mixon allegedly pointed a gun at a woman on January 21st, the day the Bengals traveled to face the Buffalo Bills. The initial charge was dismissed less than 24 hours after it was filed, with authorities stating during the court proceeding that they reserved the right to refile the case upon gathering new information, and apparently they have, as they have refiled that charge.
Apparently they have, is right. It's still a misdemeanor, but it's like the highest level misdemeanor there, and he does have a violent history from his collegiate days. So I saw there's a guy, Drew Davenport. He's a fantasy analyst, but he's also a practicing attorney, and I think he actually practices in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. And so he comments on these things, and he's very clear, like I get it. I don't have firsthand information. I know what the charges are. I know what the potential penalties are. Here's what could be what Joe Mixon is facing, for instance, right? So he's
without
not,
any kind of insider knowledge.
Exactly.
This is what it looks like based on the facts that
based
I
on the
have.
public info,
Yeah.
right? And he said, talking with prosecutors over the years, like in the terms of like if you got a guy who's had a DUI and he doesn't get another one for 10 years, they don't believe that's the next time he drove drunk. You know what I mean? Like, and so. With Joe Mixon, from a prosecutor's point of view, according to this attorney at least, okay, just because we haven't had any other violent episodes potentially from a prosecutorial point of view, they just assume he was not caught or, didn't get the punishment that comes with being a famous person, whatever. I don't know. And on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, that's called a ringer. Yes, it is. Couldn't think of the name. I forget exactly how I described it. You got the idea,
I do,
but it's
yeah.
like an old school. Like you don't see those bad boys, but
Oh, yeah.
at least that's the only time I've ever seen one in my life. The OBJ thing is kind of weird to me. Like I get it. Lamar Jackson's excited about the chance to maybe throw to OBJ, but I thought Lamar wanted out of Baltimore, right?
Mhm.
Like he requested a trade. Does giving OBJ $15 million mean all of a sudden the Ravens are going to give more money to Lamar Jackson?
Right.
Or do they think maybe, this is the one thing I think that's possible. Maybe they think, all right, we'll give you a weapon. $15 million that could have gone to you, by the way, right? We could have kind of split that. We could have given you, instead of the $32 million, could have given you 40 for 1 year, right? And then signed a lesser wide receiver. But maybe they think this is going to prevent Lamar Jackson from, like, this is enough to get him to come in, play this year. I don't know, man. I mean, if you're feeling, and I can't, it's not like Lamar Jackson has put all these thoughts into words, but if you're feeling disrespected that, Deshaun Watson got this, I'm not getting this, how does giving the money to OBJ change that dynamic between you and the Baltimore Ravens? It doesn't to me. So maybe it's like, all right, I got OBJ. You know what? I'm going to come in there. And who knows? Could the Ravens go, hey, we wouldn't franchise tag you next year if you come in and sign the tag? I suppose they could.
Yeah.
But why would they give away their leverage like that? I guess it would be a case of, well, they want Lamar Jackson to show up and play,
Yeah, it is a kind of weird situation.
I was shocked somebody gave him that much. I think it was desperation.
Yeah. And so, look, we'll see what it looks like for Odell Beckham after not playing at all last year with the injury. And, it all heated up the last quarter of the season last year. Who's going to sign Odell for a run in the playoff? Like, that all heated up again.
And the answer was no one.
No one.
Because he wanted some crazy amount of money
Right.
and a long
And so,
guaranteed deal.
Now a full year removed, we'll see what Odell Beckham Jr. looked like. He looked all right. The last time we saw him with the Rams, he wasn't quite old
No, but by
Odell.
the time, like when we last saw him in the Super Bowl, he looked fantastic.
He looked good.
But
yeah.
we're basing that on half a game's worth of production. If you look at his last full season, like in Cleveland, he was like a less than 1,100-yard receiver.
Mhm.
But then again, money is $15 million ain't what it used to be, Tone.
Yeah.
But it did surprise me. 15 with a chance to make 18, and it seemed like he had a visit with the Jets, and the Jets, at this point, they're like, all right, Aaron Rodgers, you want us to sign Jerry Rice? I know he's a little old right now, but we'll do it if that's what it takes, right? They're trying to get all these guys, and I got to believe that the Ravens thought that if we let him out of here, he's going to the Jets. He's not going to come here. The Jets are going to be irresponsible, so let's be irresponsible. which is not usually
Which is
the
out of
Ravens'
character
motif.
for the Ravens.
Just they really like, wow, really? I guess that's what it is. You create a market, you create a bidding war, so to speak. All it takes is one other team and one team to get a little bit desperate.
No doubt.
Would they just not have been better off taking that money, going, draft wide receiver early and say, hey, Lamar, here's the extra money, whatever we're going to do. And I guess they feel like, look, if this gets Lamar into play and we give him a potential top of their depth chart wide receiver.
Yeah.
With apologies to Rashad Bateman.
It feels like one of those moves. I don't see why they make it if they don't think it helps them with Lamar Jackson.
Oh, and I think it probably did because he wouldn't be out there like I'm Instagramming with OBJ and here's a still shot from it,
If they didn't think it would help with their situation right now with their quarterback, it doesn't feel like a move the Ravens would have made, but who knows? Like if this is something they still would have done regardless of the Lamar Jackson situation, but it's hard to imagine that doesn't have some kind of impact on the decision to pay Odell Beckham Jr. potentially $18 million this year.
All right, got an interesting question on the text line that we will deal with coming up on the other side as we look at the Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day and your responses to it, asking you today, if you take Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker out of the equation, who leads the Jags in sacks this year, basically, right? Who's at worst the third highest sack producer behind those two guys at worst this year? And it doesn't have to be a guy who's presently on the team. We'll discuss that when we come back in a moment. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. So you know what? You don't have to wait until a golf ball crashes into your living room window. You may be nowhere near that kind of danger, but maybe you're just looking at your house and you want it to look better. You want it to be more energy efficient. And look, Pella is Consumer Reports' overall top choice for both energy efficiency and stylish design. When you need to replace your windows or doors, or you're only considering it, I encourage you to visit the Pella showroom. They're on Phillips Highway, right next to Tesla. Deal with the top of the line in the industry. I trust them in my home. You can too. You can find them online at PellaJacks.com.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
No dental insurance? No problem. Introducing the Care Plus program from the dental offices of Dr. James McCall. For only $625 per year, you will receive 2 cleanings and dental exams, a full set of x-rays, plus 1 emergency dental exam and x-ray. You'll also receive a 20% discount on all other services offered. Kids 12 and under will receive the same program for only $525. Call Dr. McCall today at 620-9225.
The Northeast Florida Safety Council has been keeping Florida safe for 80 years. I'm Megan Ehlers, Member Services Specialist. Whether your organization is large or small, we're a nonprofit that provides the services you need to take the worry out of compliance. Benefits of membership include thousands of online and instructor-led safety and health classes, learning management system access, safety walkthroughs, orientation program development, and consulting services. For more on becoming a member, visit nefsc.org.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
When a reckless driver blindsides your future, when a police report fails to show all the facts,
when you're hurt, can't work, and you don't know how you're going to feed your family, call us.
We will pursue those who are responsible in order to hold them accountable.
Time is not on your side. We are. Call 396-5555 now or go to farahandfarah.com. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family. Jacksonville.
In sports, the grind outside the lines is what ultimately defines our success. Get the amateur's edge, powered by B3 Better, to learn the hidden path of top pros, amateurs, and coaches. Saturday mornings at 11 on 1010XL.
AC's broke, it ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
This is Hayes Carlion for Kingfish Pest Control, a local family-owned business that specializes in pest, termites, mosquito, and rodent prevention. I tell you what, when I got my new home, I had to put on my reporter's hat, find out who really is the best, and it turns out there's no competition. Kingfish provides exceptional service and treats me like a valued customer, not just an account. That's why I wholeheartedly recommend Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Round up your friends and coworkers for the start of the Topgolf Spring Leagues. Each Monday from 6 to 9 p.m. for 8 weeks, you and your crew can compete for prizes and fun at Topgolf Jacksonville. Go to topgolf.com/leagues to sign up.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping clients all over Florida with their construction perm loans for 34 years. Construction perm loans are not easy to find because a lot of banks and credit unions don't understand them, and therefore they don't like to do them. Well, your problem is solved. Trustline Mortgage wants to help you build your dream home. Our construction perm loans are single close, so you save money by not having to close twice, like with other lenders. Some of our construction perm loans allow you to lock in your interest rate up front. And if interest rates go down, we'll give you the better rate. We offer up to 100% VA loans, up to 96.5% for FHA loans, and up to 95% for conventional loans. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. That's 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you build your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing lender. MLS number 331480.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Honda has done it again with their all-new exciting SUV and truck lineup for 2023. HRV, Pilot, Passport, Ridgeline trucks, and our popular CRV hybrid. This is without a doubt Honda's most impressive lineup. Visit your local Honda dealer today. We're dealing.
He's not afraid to tell the truth.
He's honest, he's smart.
Rick Ballou is the truth teller.
And he's ambitious for all the right reasons.
All the sports talk and hot topics you need to know about. After the Franchi Show, evenings on 1010XL. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL. Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, wrapping things up in the next 10 minutes here on Jaguars today this morning. One thing, I should have mentioned this earlier, but the speculation, rumor, whatever you want to call it, over the weekend that the Lions may make Jeff Okudah available via trade. Now, Jeff Okudah, remember, when he came out, was the number 3 overall pick in the draft by the Lions. He has had a torn Achilles. That was in 2021, so he missed that year, was injured a lot his rookie season. Mm-hmm. He's been beat up a lot, right? So there's a rumor that the Rams may be interested. Keep in mind, the Lions this offseason signed Cameron Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, all in the secondary there. And so that's a lot of talent for one secondary. Could it make Okudah expendable? Somebody asked on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures, this is Clarence from the 404, Jags trade a 4th-round pick or a pair of 6th for Jeff Okudah from the Lions. What do you think? Done. Mm-hmm. Now, look, you got to rely on your pro personnel department here, right? The scout.
Yeah.
You have to. I don't watch the Lions play every single week, right? We just don't, and so I can't tell you if Okudah has come even close to living up to his tremendous potential. I would assume overall with the injuries and the rumors of his availability, the answer would be no. That doesn't mean he's not worth a 4th-round pick because you got this year, you got the 5th-year option for him next year. I mean, my lean would be immediately yes, I would do that. Now, if the Jags pro personnel department is like, look, he's this, and watch the film, you don't know what you're talking about. All right, I'm willing, I'm open to that. I'm not a film grader for sure, but the rumor is the Rams might give a 3rd-round pick plus some to get him. So, would I give a 4th or a pair of 6th? By the way, a pair of 6 isn't close to the value of a 4th rounder. You wouldn't get close. You're that extra 6 might move you up 10 spots in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Might get you a late 5th. It's not going to get you a 4th. How many draft picks do you think the Rams have this year? Team F them picks.
I don't 7.
13.
Oh.
Yeah, 13 picks. Now, they don't have a first rounder.
Mm-hmm.
They have 1 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, a 4th, 3 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th.
Okay.
That's a team that could definitely package some stuff together. It's also a team that looks like it's stripping it down to the bolts a little bit and needs an infusion of as much young talent as they can bring in.
And speaking of teams moving around in the draft, I saw Schefter just a few minutes ago tweet out that he's heard that at least 6 teams have reached out to the Cardinals about the potential
Makes
of trading
sense.
to that number 3 spot, and that they're mulling over, whatever they want to do with that pick at this point.
Take Will Anderson or Jalen Carter or whomever.
QB
or maybe.
Maybe.
I don't think so. Not after giving Kyler all that money.
No, I'm saying for whoever's moving up to 3.
Whoever's moving up is coming for the quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't question that for a second. Right. I would think. I'm talking about what are the Cardinals' options if they're there at the pick. But, yeah, that makes total sense. At least 6 teams. I bet we could it could be a lot of them. I bet the Titans are one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Down
they
to the
were
11.
rumored to be there last week. That story was out.
I wonder if New England's one of them.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, right? With the Belichick attitude towards Mac Jones apparent at this point in time. All right, E.T., if you'd be so kind, let's look at today's question of the day.
10-10 Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take, brought to you by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this.
Question before we get to would trading for Okudah cost us our compensatory pick for Taylor? I don't think trades have any impact on your.
No.
It's all about who you sign and lose in free agency. So no, I would assume that has zero bearing on it. But it's a good question nonetheless. All right, today's question of the day. You can debate whether it's a good question or not, but it is the question of the day.
It's a hard question.
It is, right? Other than Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker, who do you think will have the most sacks for the Jaguars in 2023? Good on all of you who just answered the question with a single name.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough for me to do that. Like if I had to bet money, my own money, $1,000 of my own money, like I'd try to pick a number that not going to break me, not going to put me in the poorhouse, but it not going to make me very happy either, right? So if I had to bet $1,000, I'd bet Roy Robertson Harris.
Me too.
Right? Because he's going to be here. Hey, that's half the battle here.
Yeah.
You could say, well, whoever they draft at 24. But if you're looking for a specific name, what if they don't draft one at 24? Are you going to? What if they draft a couple edge rushers in the 3rd and 4th round? Are you going to count on that? And then what if they go ahead and go the veteran free agent route? I will say if it's the veteran free agent route, I've been stuck on Justin Houston longer than anybody here. And Tony, you'll back me up on that. I mean, basically since the season ended. Let's go find this year's Justin Houston. Maybe it's Justin Houston.
Yeah.
So I would bet Roy Robertson Harris. I would go Justin Houston second, although I have no indication that they sniffed around Justin Houston at this point in time. So
yeah, I'm with you. I would go Roy Robertson Harris at the top of my list. I'd probably put Devin Lloyd 2 with the talk about them using him more in kind of a pass rush mode because it's such a wild card. Right, to figure out what free agent or what draft pick may be coming in here to impact that at this point. So if this was betting my money at this point on who this would be, it would be Roy Robertson Harris at the top of the list for me, Devin Lloyd 2. If I had to pick a free agent, I'd probably pick Melvin Ingram because he's already had that kind of veteran role, again, along the lines that we've been talking about. He's not Leonard Floyd, who may be looking for a starting job. That may be the holdup for him at this point. I don't think that's going to work if that's what he's looking for in Jacksonville, obviously. And if it was a draft pick, it's, man, so wide.
Will McDonald. I don't know. I mean,
but if I had to pick one name, I'd probably go Miles Murphy if I had to pick one name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clemson.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The reason I wouldn't say Devin Lloyd number 1, and I know you didn't, he already played 80% of the snaps last year.
Didn't get one.
Other than Foye, nobody played more, despite the fact that he lost his job to Chad Muma at one point. Nobody played more defensive snaps in the front 7 other than Foye Oluokun than Devin Lloyd did. Now, Tyson Campbell played like 98% of the snaps. Rayshawn, 97% of the snaps. Those guys in the secondary.
Yeah.
But Devin Lloyd played more snaps than Josh Allen did. last year. And like you said, didn't have the one. And it's not just that I don't think he's capable. Like, Devin Lloyd needs to worry about locking down his responsibilities that he came into the league with, right? I mean, are you – how many games will Devin Lloyd start this year if he stays healthy?
All of them.
Okay.
I believe.
I think that's that's what I hope.
Yeah.
How confident are you in that number?
Probably.
Would you bet that 1,000?
No. probably like 80-85% confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if he does, that means he is picking – look, certainly they could use him in a different way. There's been talk of that. But you're going from 0 to whatever. Now, the good thing is to finish in the top 3 here, whatever is not a very high number.
No, yeah.
At least based on where things were last year. All right, here are some of the responses you gave us here. Let's see. Devin Lloyd, that's from Matt Teague. I think he's going to have a big, big year. Got a lot of Lloyd here. Considering the lack of pass rushing depth, said Kyle, hopefully the answer is whoever they draft on day 1 or 2. Josh said there's been quite a lot of smoke about Devin Lloyd getting used on the edge, Trayvon inside, so I'll go Lloyd here. Lloyd's probably the most popular answer we got. Roy Robertson Harris probably second. Here's one, Chason or Frank Clark. So he's going in-house, Chason, outside, Frank Clark. All right.
Okay.
Future Jaguar Nolan Smith. Got this one from Rampage Love. Not the only one to say that. Big Roy for sure. Andre Cisco coming off the edge. More. I think that's, that's a lot of blitzing right there. Doom said probably Rayshon or Cisco. I feel like that's, I hope not. You know, how many sacks do you think you're going to get from your leading sacker from the secondary?
Right.
3? You know, and look, maybe
3
that's
would
enough.
be a ton.
It would, right? And so, you know, but Roy Robertson Harris with 3 would have been the answer last year once you took Arden Key and Dewan Smoot out of the picture. Let's see. Brian Branch says Andrew is going to get blitzed a lot and he'll have 3.5 sacks, 7 quarterback hurries. That's very specific. Justin Houston, Roy Robertson Harris. Several people have said Jordan Smith. Again, I mean, Jordan Smith, look, and again, you're trying to project, and I understand that, right? Yep. Nobody's saying you have to bet that 1,000 to bank on that. But, man, you want to talk about a high-risk proposition. Jordan Smith, over under 0.5 sacks this year. What are you taking? All right, I'm sorry. Let's go 1.5. I'm taking the under on that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy barely has played.
Yeah.
You know? Who knows?
And the odds with the draft and veteran free agency still potentially to come. I mean, he just, with every one of those coming in, he's getting pushed down.
And when I say barely has played, I'm talking about since the beginning of his collegiate career.
Yeah.
You know? So, look, I don't wish anything against the guy.
I hope he breaks out. That'd be awesome.
And give us a half dozen. That would be fantastic. I would love that, but not counting on it, to be sure. All right, wrapping things up today. Thanks for playing along. As always, let's welcome in XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Tire Outlet is now hiring. Visit TireOutlet.com/careers. Equal opportunity employer.
All right, Joe C is in the house. Maybe Joe C would be a consideration for third best sack total for the Jaguars. Wouldn't take much, Joe, for 2023.
Way back when, I think I wore Manny Fernandez, number 75, in the midget league back in the day, trying to come off the edge. Maybe that was even gray white football. I can't quite remember. But, yeah, I could try and do that. The question you guys have, not an easy question
It's
to
not
answer.
an easy question. Well, first you got to figure who's even going to be on the team,
Yeah,
right?
You know, my joke, as soon as I heard you guys say it, I'm like, okay, 45. Put me down for 45. You know, like,
okay. I'll bet the 1,000 with you, I think. I might on that one.
And I might even be willing to bet Dewan Smoot comes back from a ruptured Achilles and gets more than Caleb on. But I think it is revealing because, you know, like PFF did this top 10 teams leading up to the draft, meaning they had already done their free agency work. They didn't include Jacksonville in the top 10. They included the Ravens in the top 10. They included the Vikings in the top 10. So anyway, you know, it was good fodder, and you know, we went on the attack just like, you know, most will do in defense of Duval. But if you do ask your guys' question, it does scream that there is an area of need that they have drafted rush ends, edge players, 3 of the last 4 drafts in the first round.
And what do you have to show for it?
Nothing.
I mean, I wouldn't say
Well,
nothing,
no, you're right.
but
You're right.
not anywhere
enough.
near the production you
Right,
should.
not enough. A number 1 overall pick, 7th overall pick, and a 20th overall pick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not enough.
By the way, I was not really into the NFL like in the early 70s with Manny Fernandez. I remember him from Championship Wrestling from Florida back in the day. Latin
Big Fu
Lightning.
Manchu.
Yeah, I mean, he was flying around the ring with Gordon Solie on the call back then. Had a nice little career as a professional wrestler. Quickly on the Masters, Joe, Brooks Koepka says this just goes to show that the live golfers are not over the hill, whatever. You still didn't win it, though, did you?
No,
I got to say, I always root for an American at the Masters or anywhere else. Not yesterday, buddy. Not when it became evident that a non-live American had no chance.
It is funny that you said that because TLD kind of said the same thing. Wait a minute, we're rooting for a Spaniard over an American?
Yes.
And I'm like, well.
I was.
Yeah, and my mom, God rest her soul, she always loved the Spanish Armada. So I was happy for Rahm. But the other argument, Mike, and this is fair, is that they played 3 days. They got to the 4th day, and it didn't go well for the live player. It really didn't.
True, but then again, Phil Mickelson, horses for courses, but come on, man. I mean, what a charge he made.
Yeah, he really did. And he now has the best round of the oldest guy to shoot that round, and really an incredible performance. He can turn back the clock as good as anybody at that place.
Look, there's no reason Koepka shouldn't win 4 Masters. Honestly, he probably won't in his career. You know what? But he should be in contention every year he's healthy at that course.
He didn't say this, and I'm just trying to paraphrase him and think in a positive way. He probably misses this competition as much as anybody. Meaning,
keeping him sharp.
Yeah, well, just being against the game's best.
Right.
And he said he admitted his body was breaking down. He went to a place where he could have some guaranteed cash. That's fine. He played extremely well, but in the final round, he ended up. He got pants by Rahm.
By the way, you see the Tiger golf ball that got auctioned off this week?
Yeah,
it was the only ball that they can certify came from his final round at his first Masters win, right? Because he gave it to a kid. Right. It was like $86,000 or something like this, right? For the ball. Yeah. He gave it to a kid after he made a bogey on like the 4th or 5th hole. Mm-hmm. Right? And he gave it to him. And there's documentary evidence of this. And the kid signed it. The guy is now older. He signed an affidavit and all this. So I looked and it said, the most valuable Tiger ball was one he autographed from when he made a hole-in-one in his first tournament. Remember, he was just starting with the fist pump for the first time. Mike, my question is, how do they get that ball? Because, like, if Tiger can turn down $800 million from Live, does he need $150,000 auctioning off a golf ball?
I don't know.
Where did that ball come from that it got put up for auction?
Yeah, and he must have been willing to part with it at that point.
Sure, but it's like I mean, that's truly. You think about $800 million that he could just go. Nah, I'm good. I'm going to walk away from that.
You think about this. He was sports' first billionaire,
right?
And then it got lopped in half by the divorce, and then he went right back to almost becoming.
He could have done it in one fell swoop, one stroke of the pen. And isn't that funny though? You look at the Live, man. Tiger would have been out there dragging that leg around for $1 billion. Yeah. And it just would have been that was what his name is worth to them, because it's certainly not his play that's worth that now.
It's something else. It really is.
Joe, have a good show, man.
All right, fellas. Thank you.
Lot to get into. 2.5 weeks out from the draft, Masters recap, and more coming up on XL Primetime. All right, we are lining up some of our favorite draft analysts for this week. Chad Ryder from NFL.com. Tony Pauline going to make another return engagement from Pro Football Network as we march ever closer. We thank Mike DeRocco for joining us today. For my man Tony Smith and E.T., I'm Mike Dempsey. Thanks for listening to Jaguars Today, and stick around for XL Primetime next here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, if you're looking for the best deal on your next set of tires, and who wouldn't be, Tire Outlet never falls flat. Tire Outlet offers the best selection, quality, and best prices on tires that you can find the right ones for your vehicle. With 40 years of experience and 14 locations around the First Coast alone and a legendary price match guarantee, you can trust that your vehicle is in great hands. Tire Outlet skilled technicians are ready to maintain and repair your vehicle to keep it operating at its best. That's Tire Outlet, where you always get wholesale prices and premium service.
Yo, Jacksonville, who want to eat a W?
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
1.
Frangie and Hicken on Mondays.
2.
Denny Thompson and Hacker on Wednesdays.
Who's counting?
1010XL now has 2 original Gator podcasts each week.
One for you and one for me.
Search 1010XL Florida Gators wherever you find podcasts or visit 1010XL.com.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about not being afraid of the crosses of life. Life can be difficult. Maybe today you're carrying a cross of worry or stress. Let me encourage you to remember that when Christ got on the big cross at Golgotha, he destroyed all the little crosses that we face in our life. He set us free from fear, worry, and anxiety. Our job is not to be carried by the cross, but to be carried by our faith.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
Jacksonville has some junk, and J-Dog is removing it. They're here to do the dirty work. You don't want to remove and dispose of large furniture or appliances yourself? Call J-Dog. Here now, proudly serving you, removing junk from your home or business. They can even handle small demolition projects, and they're still donating local items to veterans in need. So let J-Dog do the dirty work for you. J-Dog Junk Removal. Veteran-owned and operated. JDog.com.
It's that time of year, beach and biking and NFL draft season. Head on down to Sliders Oyster Bar in Neptune Beach, where you'll find the absolute freshest seafood in all of Duval. The biggest shrimp, the saltiest oysters, the freshest fish, all here at our newly renovated restaurant in Neptune Beach. The draft is coming up, so pull up a chair to the bar, get a dozen, and let's see who our